too busy taking pictures of the plane and I've lost my family. This happens every time. Brian's driving us to the airport this morning. Just so you know, Brian works for a company called Arrive in Comfort, and he did reach out to me offering us this lift to the airport. Thank you very much, Brian.
My pleasure.
One thing I learnt this morning as well, because getting to Melbourne Airport, if you've done it before, you know it's a bit of a pain. There's no rail line, you have to get a bus or a taxi or an Uber. You guys do a fixed price to the airport.
Absolutely.
And the cost difference is like maybe $10, to be honest, and we've paid more in an Uber or a taxi before, so I don't normally promote other people's services on this channel, but where it potentially could help you, I'm really keen to do that kind of thing. So as an option, if you're travelling to the airport quite a lot, I'll link to your website below, Brian.
Sure, that'll be great.
He's also a massive plane nerd as well, like most of us watching this channel, so travelling with someone like this, you have a great chat on the way there too. Thanks, Brian. Thank you very much.
All the very best. Have a great trip.
Waiting for it to go. It hasn't gone for ages now. We're just in the Qantas Lounge here at Melbourne Airport quickly just to grab some breakfast before we're jumping on board our flight today. Now, if you've watched this channel for a while, you'll know I quite often fly with Qantas out of Melbourne here whenever I'm travelling overseas. Today, and you would have seen this from the thumbnail and the title admittedly today, I just thought we'd try something different. We're going to be flying on Jetstar today in their business class service. I'll tell you the reasons why we're flying Jetstar on this flight and not Qantas a little bit later on, but for now, yeah, we're just having some breakfast here and then jumping on board one of their 787 Dreamliners and heading out to Singapore.
Happy holidays. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Of course, just a reminder, if you are flying Jetstar but you have got a Qantas lounge in the airport you're flying from and you are a One World frequent flyer, depending on your status, you can still access the Qantas lounge even though you're flying on Jetstar. Come on. We have to go. Okay. just as you're leaving. Have a nice day. We didn't get very far. There's a very long queue now to get on board the plane. Jack's just gone to see if there's a priority boarding queue for business. I don't think there is. I think it's all mixed into one. But she's just got to find it. There is? There is? Oh, there is. Yeah, we can go this way. Hello. Let's very quickly, before we look at the plane itself, let's just talk about pet peeves on an aeroplane. You may have your thing, it may be people who take their shoes off, which is pretty bad, don't get me wrong. Or it might be people who are loud, you know, who talk very loudly, or crying babies, whatever your thing is. We all have those pet peeves on an aeroplane. And for me, being 6'2" and having quite long legs, is people reclining their seat into you. Not just in general, because if you've got a seat that can recline, that's fine. Recline your seat. That's your prerogative. You paid for it, recline your seat. No, my thing is people reclining their seat just as we've taken off and the seatbelt sign is still on. That. What's your pet peeve on an aeroplane?
My biggest pet peeve is reclining on a domestic flight.
You just dropped your AirPod.
No, my earring.
Oh no, thanks. Don't move. Oh,
You guys have gone wrong.
I've got it here.
Oh, there's water going down my leg.
Sorry.
That's okay, give me the serviette. Quick. It's weird.
Anyway, let's talk about the plane. So this is Jetstar's 787 Dreamliner. It's the 787-8 series that we're flying to Singapore today. The business class configuration you have here on board is a 2-3-2 configuration. 3 rows of seats, and the seat's fairly basic, so it's got a reclining at the back and a footrest that pops out at the bottom. I do like it as well when planes still have the overhead vents too, so you can, if you want a little bit of air and a bit of fresh air during the flight, you can manage that yourself. And there is a food service as well that comes round, which we're not actually having because we ate in the lounge, as you saw. I said I'd mention why we're flying on Jetstar today, not Qantas like we normally do. Well, one of the reasons is we normally fly Qantas to get the status credits to stay at the certain status tier. So we can get things like more frequent flyer points, access the lounges. This year we've actually, between us, managed to get to a status which will allow us to get to the lounges for the whole of our next year flying with Qantas. And so this flight to Singapore wasn't about trying to get status credits, it was just about trying to find the most affordable way to get to Singapore. A business class return fare when we bought it, this is January as we're flying at the moment, so it's kind of peak holiday season. Melbourne to Singapore return in business was $1,600 per person. You compare that to what you might pay on someone like Qantas doing the same route, it's probably just over about half the price that you would be expected to pay if you were flying with another carrier like Qantas. And if you want a recommendation on the best place to sit if you are travelling business on the Dreamliner with Jetstar, by far, if you can get row 1 doesn't have any seats in front of you that have that reclining issue we were talking about before. So row 1 at the front, you get the screens that are in the arm of your seat, so you pop those out and you can watch TV in the same way, you can stretch your legs out. One disadvantage is you can't have bags in front of you on takeoff and landing, but that's a small thing on a flight of this length, to be honest. So if you can get the first row, I'd say that's the best. The second best would be the back, so you can recline your seat and you're not reclining into anyone. And then probably row 2 would be my third preference on this particular configuration.
I think we might be here a while.